Hey guys, welcome back. It's Jen, and today I'm going to teach you how to bake a cake. All recipes have their separate instructions, but I'm going to tell you some helpful information that's usually not included in the recipe, and that's what this video is all about. So the first thing is, if your recipe includes butter, take it out of the refrigerator because it usually needs to be at room temperature, and I hate when I forget to do that. You can microwave it on defrost to get it to room temperature, but it's just better if it naturally happens that way. So the next thing you're going to need to know is the basic tools that you usually require to have to bake a cake. So here's a picture of those tools if you want to take a quick screenshot. So it's really important that you buy professional cake pans. Most cake pans in stores don't work well, they don't bake evenly, etc. I use Magic Line or Fat Daddios, and I just got mine on Amazon. The pans come in 2-inch deep or 3-inch deep. I suggest 2-inch deep because it's a better frosting to cake ratio. So the round cake pans, for example, come in all different diameters. So I suggest choosing even number diameters like a 6-inch pan, 8-inch pan, 10-inch pan, etc. because cake boards that you find in the stores are usually in those same even measurements. So also extremely important is after you bake this beautiful cake that you can actually get out of the pan. So I have a tried and true cake release recipe for you. It's just equal parts vegetable oil, vegetable shortening, and flour, and you just mix it together. And then you just spread it all over your pan. I like to do one thin layer and then a little bit extra to make sure that there's enough on there, but don't do more than that because you don't want to end up with this wet cake. I use a pastry brush to spread it on, but you can just use your fingers, so I did not include it in your tools list. And just make sure you get it in all the crevices. And just a side note, if you do end up with Fat Daddio pans, you may want to get a pastry brush because I don't know if you'll feel this way, but when I touch the Fat Daddio's pan, it kind of gives me that chalkboard feeling. So after you have all your batter ready, you're going to want to fill the pans halfway full. And then you're going to want to tap the pans so that the batter settles evenly and get the air bubbles out. So I like to be really careful not to overbake my cakes. So I put them in for 20 minutes and then I check it after that. And then I'll do 10-minute intervals until the batter's not jiggly anymore. And after that, then I put it in for 5 minutes, just one time, and then I check it with a toothpick, and if it still doesn't come out clean, I put it in for 2-minute intervals, checking each time with a toothpick. Every recipe is different, but usually it's either till the toothpick comes out clean or just has a few crumbs on it. So when your cakes are done baking, you go ahead and take those out, and if they are domed at all, you're going to want to flatten those out so it will make your stacking much easier. Don't worry, it won't ruin the cake or the taste of it. You just lay a kitchen towel over the cake. Remember, the pans are going to be hot, so put those oven mitts on, and you're going to just lay the kitchen towel over and press down, and it'll flatten them right out. So then let these cool in the pan for 10 minutes, and then after 10 minutes, again, put on your oven mitts, and you're going to flip the cakes over onto a cooling rack. You should not need to separate the sides with a spatula, but if you want to play it safe, you could do that just to make sure it comes out. And then you're going to want to let these cool to room temperature before you wrap them up. So you're going to want to wrap these in plastic wrap and place them in a Ziploc freezer bag. Make sure it is a freezer bag. And you're going to go ahead and freeze these because freezing a cake actually makes it much more moist. And just make sure they're laying flat in the freezer, otherwise they'll lose their shape. Do not store them in the refrigerator. Refrigerators dry out cakes. Until there's a crumb coat of frosting on the cake, it will dry the cake out. So if you don't have a recipe in mind that you want to try, go ahead and check my recipes out. I have a lot of tutorials on my favorites. And after you bake your cake, I suggest you go to my next tutorial called How to Crumb Coat Your Cake, because that's going to be the next step. And then after that, you're going to want to watch How to Frost a Cake. So I have lots of different tutorials on different frosting techniques, from how to frost a cake smoothly, but I also have other techniques that are easier than that to start with if you'd like. And just a little hint here, how to frost a rustic cake is the easiest. Don't take your cakes out of the freezer before you watch how to crumb coat a cake, because I actually like to crumb coat it straight from the freezer. I highly suggest using my American crusting buttercream recipe to frost your first cake, because it's, first of all, it's super, super yummy, but it's also really easy to work with. And I have a lot of different flavors for that same American crusting buttercream if you don't want to do the basic vanilla. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time.